The next speaker, again from our team Life for NECA, is Elena Ciappi from CNR, the Italian National Research Council.
Mario, thank you for the introduction, and good morning, everyone. Try to, okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Sì, sì.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. And okay, as Mario said, I'm a researcher at the National Research Council of Italy, and in particular at the Institute of Marine Engineering. I don't have a specific presentation about CNR, my institute. I would like only to say that the Institute of Marine Engineering and the research of this institute is focused since the early 80s on shipping sustainability. What we did in particular on this topic, what we do every day on this topic is to develop new technology research and new technological solution to improve energy efficiency of ship, say by optimization of the hull form, by using and by studying new low friction skins, also biomimetic, the possibility to use lightweight materials, high performance propulsion, and also how to manage in an efficient way the energy on board. For what concerns the reduction of the environmental footprint, our research, not only of the Institute of Marine Engineering, but in general of the part of CNR that is devoted and focused on shipping, is to do research on alternative fuel, in particular biofuel and hydrogen, new hybrid and electric ships, and new power generation from renewable source on board the ship, say for instance wind and sun. I would like just to mention that also we have some new technology for the onboard waste management and, for instance, for ballast water treatment. In particular, with reference to the previous presentation, I found that really very interesting. And we have also some solution for waste management directly on board. Also for ports, say the digital twin of the ports and the optimization of the complex operation within a large port. This is not exhaustive, but I would like to have enough time to present you what we did in the frame of Life for NECA project, and to show you the effects, some of the effects, of course, on the blue economy of the NECA. So what we did is to analyze positive effect, of course, but also, if any, some negative effects of the NECA itself and of the solution for its implementation. In particular, we focus our attention on the benefits for marine and coastal biodiversity. And in that sense, we know quite well that emission of sulfur and nitrogen oxides contribute to acidification and to eutrophication. The results of acidification of soil and waters is the loss of biodiversity, and also the acidification of river, lakes, and groundwater. On the other side, could have also some economical impact, for instance, for agricultural productivity. Another important issue is that to comply with new regulation, we need to use, one of the way, of course, is to use low sulfur fuel oil. So what we know about these oils, information are really very scarce, and especially the efficacy of the available remediation strategies. And since accidental oil spill is for the Med Sea a big issue, this topic has been analyzed in details, with reference, of course, to biodiversity, but also to other economic activities. Another important point cited before in the previous presentation is related to scrubbers, which is another way to comply with the regulation, of course. In the case of open loop, it has been already said that this could be very dangerous for the marine environment. Again, we will have acidification of the seawater. In the case of closed loop scrubbers, we have another issue. So the MED is ready, and MED ports are ready to manage residual waters of ships equipped with scrubbers. Another important issue that is something which is really very peculiar of the Mediterranean Sea because of its rich history. So the rich cultural heritage. This is a big difference with respect to many other sea basins. So the protection of historical buildings was one of the topics analyzed within the Life for MEDECA project, and the impact on an important economic activities, which is cultural tourism. For what concern the possibility to have low sulfur fuel oil spill, this is a figure you can see that where you can see the oil spill density for the Mediterranean Sea. This is an old figure, but the situation with the new data is not so different. And also what happens last year in Israel in February 2021 was a major oil spill. The problem is that low sulfur fuel oil are a blend of different components, and so they are very variable, and we don't know exactly which are the characteristics, in particular which could be the toxicity. And in particular, one important thing is to be very fast with the remediation strategies. So we are ready for this. This is a problem because, of course, there are some direct cleanup costs, and the estimation is around 8,800 euros per ton. But the problem is that we have also higher indirect costs because of the suspension of fishery and aquaculture activities and also of tourism. These are some economical problems, but of course there are also and first of all, the environmental problems. So what we did is to have to perform studies and to collect information. The problem is the high variability of this sulfur fuel oil, and so in particular they have a common characteristics that they have a high pull point, that means that can solidify at sea surface, so mechanical recovery can be challenging. So recommendation is to continue to analyze samples, in particular of ultra low sulfur fuel oils that at the moment still represent niche product, but they are the fuel that are needed for the SECA, for the SECA, and also to ask for new regulation in terms of point or to oblige the ship to have a clear idea of what is the fuel they are used. Another problem and another topic, which is, yes, at the moment it is a problem because the Mediterranean Sea is not prepared for this, is to are the facilities at ports for scrubber residuals. What we know is that at the moment, around 1,000 scrubber-equipped ships spent at least 10% of their trip in the Mediterranean Sea. Most of them are ro-ro ships, car carrier, and cruise vessels. As I said before, at the moment there is a problem with scrubber discharges at sea, and 80% occur in the national waters. In fact, the Mediterranean Sea is a special hotspot for this problem. As we know, some Med countries have already established local restriction and others are expected in the near future. So there will be probably a shift to closed loop scrubber, to the use of closed loop scrubber. And Med ports, there are some Med ports that are equipped with the reception facility for scrubber waste residues. But the capacity and the discharge rate are usually not available. We know that there are a couple of larger size facilities, but most of them are small to medium size, so with a limited capacity at managing large ship. We try in particular, the port of Livorno, try to analyze the problem, considering first a segment which is really very important for the Mediterranean Sea, which are cruise ship, and considering data of the pre-COVID crisis, they estimated that the market for new reception facilities in the Med is of about 1,300 cruise services a year, with about 1 million of cubic meter scrubber wash water to be managed. So at the end, the recommendation of Life for NECA is to build, to make investments. There's a need of new investments to build at least 4 or 5 large site facility that can have a handling capacity of 500, 700 tons, and they can reach a discharge rate of 100 cubic meters per hour. This is particularly important because that means that in 7-8 hours, a cruise ship can be, so during the night, can be completely unloaded. The last but most important, not most important, but one of the most important issue is related to cultural heritage. We know that sulfur and nitrogen oxides are responsible for material loss of historical buildings, of buildings in general, but in particular of historical buildings. And we know also that the concentration of particulate matter had an effect of blackening, so a black crust formation on the monuments. And if the share of particulate matter is almost the same between shipping and road traffic, shipping on the other side is the main responsible for sulfur oxide emission. So here we have a problem, of course, of preservation of the cultural heritage that has a value itself, but also an economical problem, which is related to the cost, to the direct cost of restoration that has to be done every 25-30 years. But also in this case, we have also another impact and maybe an higher indirect cost related to tourism, and in particular to cultural tourism. Also in this case, the studies and the knowledge gathering performed within the Life for MEDECA project, we discover that some mathematical models are available to try to understand which could be the benefit of the MEDECA on the cultural heritage in terms of decrease of recession and also blackening. What we need is the availability of accurate data on the concentration of each pollutant, and in particular at different sites, which is not easy. But we also know that over the last 15-20 years, we have gathered and we have acquired a huge
Elena,
number of...
you should...
Yes, I finished.
Thank you.
I finished, okay. And so this is quantification could be of millions of euros. So the recommendation are that it's to identify significant test case in order to provide accurate estimation of the benefits on cultural heritage and as on tourism. That's all.